Hi, I'm Nick Ross for iTWire, and today we're with New Relic. Who are you and what do you do, please?
Well, hi Nick. My name is Kris. I'm the Senior Vice President for New Relic in Asia Pacific and Japan. So I'm responsible for all of our business operations over here in APJ.
And for those who don't know, what is New Relic?
Well, New Relic is one of the industry-leading observability platforms. We specialize, I guess, really in APM-first observability, and we can obviously expand and delve into a little more around what that means.
How has modern observability evolved?
How has it evolved is a good question, because observability has been around for some time. I'd say the first iteration was probably what we'd be more familiar with as monitoring. Monitoring, though, used to be a lot more focused on RCA, root cause analysis, and that's still true today of observability. We have measures such as mean time to detection, to response, to failure. We're largely focused on avoiding unwanted surprises that can be costly to a business. But I think, in specific answer to your question in terms of how it's evolved, I'd say that nowadays it is much more, and increasingly so, about getting actionable business insights from the platform, as opposed to just those, RCA related measures. So things relating to revenue, cost, and value, rather than just telemetry. If I can give you perhaps an example, one of our large transport customers in India, they have 2.5 million drivers, provide over 1 billion rides across 250 Indian cities, and they've got business critical executive and technical dashboards tracking the whereabouts and real-time health data of their entire fleet of bikes across India. So observability matters, and it matters because it creates an understanding of behaviors in complex digital environments. Anywhere there is software, there should be observability, and of course that touches every part of all of our lives pretty much every day, right? From the workout that you do in your health app in the morning, the food that you order online, the news that you read on SBS, the banking you do with ANZ, and even the flights that you book, as I did over here to Melbourne yesterday with Virgin Airlines as well. New Relic touches all of this.
And what's the adoption rate of modern observability?
So one of the things you may know is that we do an observability forecast report. We do this every year. And the latest report shows that in Australia, particularly, the adoption of full stack observability is increasing. What the data tells us, or what those surveyed told us, was that over a third, well, I'll say 35%, of those in Australia have achieved full stack observability. However, those same kind of respondents also told us that only around 18% of their telemetry was captured across the full stack. So there's a bit of an inconsistency there, which I guess tells me we've kind of got work to do, and notably that is trailing behind what we see by way of a global average as well, which is more like 24-25%. The report also reveals that deploying full stack observability leads to better service levels, better service level metrics such as improved uptime reliability, and also improvements in security vulnerability management. So I think specifically with relation to Australia, it talks about seeing 2x return on the investments in observability, and also that tool consolidation still remains one of the primary kind of concerns or objective. But to answer your question directly, we absolutely see adoption of observability growing.
And what are the barriers to adoption?
Yeah, look, I'm not sure that I can think of any kind of obvious barriers. There's opportunities everywhere, right? And the way that I've talked about it thus far, I guess, has largely been leaning towards, well, of course, customer experience, but some of those things that more either directly or indirectly help you affect revenues in some way, be that in terms of leakage or growth. But there's also a kind of cost optimization element to this as well, which I think is sort of particularly pertinent here in Australia from the conversations I've had this week. IDC data will show you that APAC generally as a region is projected to be a big part of the rising costs associated with cloud and spend by 2030. 27. So, clearly adoption is a big trend. And one of the areas that we play into directly, which has been, as I say, relevant in many of the conversations we've had, is driving efficiencies, cost efficiencies into those environments and reducing cloud spend. And that's something that we've done ourselves at New Relic as well. I mean, we obviously adopt our own platform and we optimized our cloud costs and saw over a 60% reduction in our AWS spend as a result. So opportunities everywhere.
And how is New Relic doing in Australia?
So I can answer that question directly, but before I do, let me just sort of take a step back as well. I think since opening our offices here over in Sydney back in 2015, we've grown enormously across the region more broadly. By the markets that we're in, the headcount that we have, the customers that we have, the users of the platform, growth in all of those areas. And we don't just have offices in Sydney, but also Melbourne, where I am right now, in fact, and Brisbane. We have a headquarters over in Singapore, a large team in Tokyo. And of course, I mentioned India as well, which is a big investment area for us. We've got offices in Hyderabad and Bangalore and more, but we're investing heavily in that India part of the business, as many organizations are. We've got over 200 headcount deployed in India right now, and that's growing across all roles, including go-to-market, key product engineering roles, user experience, GA roles, you name it. And I'm proud to say that Asia Pacific is one of the fastest growing regions actually for New Relic. But you asked specifically about Australia. We serve hundreds of customers here in Australia today. Many organizations with which you'd be obviously very familiar. I mean, Australia Post, ANZ Bank, Domino's Flight Centre, IAG, Virgin Australia, to name some of those that you would obviously be familiar with. And I mentioned those ones particularly as well, because I think you can find some of the use case data on our website surrounding how we interact with all of those. But generally speaking, I think businesses in Australia are all investing heavily in cloud-based software, in data analytics, AI platforms, and basically anything that helps them achieve enhance or optimize operations, enhance customer experience, and gain valuable business insights. And perhaps I can give you just one example of that from here in Australia. One of the large banks that we work with use the insights from the New Relic platform for every step of their customer's journey. So for them, from account login, where we cover critical customer authentication processes to ensure that the customers are able to successfully log in and access services, to viewing balances through both mobile devices and on the internet browser, where New Relic is built into the app to provide visibility into real customer journeys and customer experiences, and even making payments through their banking services, where we're deployed to help identify further opportunities for optimization so that the developers can spend more time on innovation rather than just troubleshooting incidents. And this is a very large site with millions of unique monthly users on the app and many more millions on the internet banking browser as well. And all of that is supported by New Relic.
And what impact is AI having on your business?
So organizations are adopting AI-powered applications at a rapid pace. I think that's probably true everywhere. It's certainly true in the regions in which I'm present, and that generally speaking creates complexity across the IT stack, and again, generally speaking, drives up costs. I think observability is essential to helping them manage that complexity and ensure the costs don't spiral. There's still a lot of issues with AI, and we read about them a lot, right? Hallucinations, bias, toxic content, latency, security, even copyright infringements are the kind of typical things that we read about there. And what New Relic does is we collect large amounts of data from these environments, such as logs, metrics, and traces, and all of these enable you to quickly respond to shifts in data patterns or model drift or environmental changes. And we were the first observability platform to monitor AI, which is kind of critical if you want to get the most out of that investment. And so whilst everybody is heavy into the technology investment of AI, and whilst it does absolutely represent a huge opportunity for us, there should also be a focus on creating the right connections between the technology and the engineers. You know, AI can be very powerful in helping identify, diagnose problems even, but software engineers are still needed to steer the technology and the use of the technology in the right directions. So organizations that leverage observability for their AI deployments will, for sure, you know, be able to accelerate their use of AI, you know, the effectiveness of AI, and, you know, win against the competitors, I would say. One final thing that I would add there is that there is a very much a sort of cyclical and symbiotic relationship between the two. I mean, AI, by its very nature, feeds off data, right? Gets bigger, better, faster, stronger, the more data that it has to feed from. And observability, by definition, is about collecting data points, providing insights. And so these things become cyclical. They feed each other and become quite symbiotic, as I say.
And what are New Relic's newest products, and how's the market responding to them?
Yeah, so our innovation team has been very busy with a lot of the innovations in our platform. Some of that, of course, in relation to our own AI product, which is the industry's first generative AI observability assistant. That basically enables us to interact with the platform using natural language as opposed to you know, coding and needing to be technical or particularly technical to do so. But we're also advancing in multiple other areas across our core APM, you know, security capabilities, partner integrations as well. You know, I can give you just a couple of examples. So DEM, or digital experience monitoring, is an area that we're pretty heavily invested in right now, an area where we're seeing a lot of investment and product release. This is about, you know, end-to-end visibility and real-time insights across mobile, web, and AI apps, which enable organizations to deliver higher quality digital experiences across all of the touch points. And there's things like, you know, mobile user journeys or mobile logs, session replays that all kind of are a part of that launch for us. We've introduced platform integration points with things like NVIDIA, for example. We also launched interactive application security testing, which enables customers to identify exploitable vulnerabilities with a unique ability to reproduce the problem and remediate a specific threat vector before shipping code. We've done some stuff around live archives with the focus on cost management, and something that's particularly interesting to me, because it's certainly a part of many of the conversations I have with large enterprise organizations, and even over the past week here in Australia, is the focus that we have on a part of our product called PathPoint. And PathPoint brings together business insights with the telemetry data that we gather into consolidated dashboards. Is really aimed at driving correlations between the two. And this has generated significant interest, as I say, specifically from our enterprise customers, which I think was a part of the question that you asked. I give you one example from our one of our large telco customers who mapped out their entire sort of Ethernet fulfillment user journey using this product PathPoint, overlaying all past and future dated orders by type, with all of the technical insights from APM, containers, and the agents that we had deployed on infrastructure. So really being able to identify correlations between the business patterns and the performance of the business with the technical landscape. And you know, they're just some of the examples of things that are keeping us busy right now, and certainly getting a lot of interest from our customers out there as well.
How can those customers work with you, or future potential customers, I should say? Are you direct or through the channel or anything else?
We do both of those things. I mean, you know, we work regardless how any transactions are fulfilled. We always work directly with customers. So I think, you know, in terms of reaching out to New Relic, please do feel free to do so with the local teams of representatives we have in region here. Of course, they can be identified on the website as well. But of course, we work with a plethora of partners across the region as well. So we are both direct and indirect in nature.
And is there anything else you'd like to add while you've got the ear of the iTWire B2B audience?
Well, look, in terms of final thoughts, I would say observability is a journey. There is a maturity curve to achieving the nirvana of what you can get from observability. But I would say that has to start with the app, right? I mean, the app is the closest thing that anybody has to interacting with their customers, their users, the experience that they get through that app. It is the closest thing that they have to directly impacting any revenues or, avoiding revenue leakage. And New Relic is an app first or APM first observability platform. So we really help get to the important stuff of ensuring performance, reliability, and security, and linking that all back to that overall, customer experience. And again, some of the direct implications that you really should expect from any observability investment is a reduction in revenue leakage, a reduction in real terms customer attrition, churn, and of course I've also mentioned some of the cost optimizations that you can even see if deployed in this way in things like cloud spend as well. So final thought is app first. It's all about the app. So think about the app, and that's where we specialize. So reach out.
Okay. Kris Day from New Relic, thank you very much.
Thanks, Nick. Great talking to you.